Hello everyone, today I'm going to be analyzing Kafka's Metamorphosis, and the approach that I'm going to be using for this analysis is a historical biographical, also known as the Great Tradition. And first we need to know what is this approach. Basically, this approach is when you know the biography of the author and you keep in mind the time period and the historical events that took place in that period of time. And specifically, we're mentioning this one because I think that one of the most important things that we can spot in Metamorphosis is the actual life of Franz Kafka. We know that Franz Kafka was sick, he had pneumonia. We also know that he was dealing with some strong depression and anxiety, and that he had family issues. Not only that, he was living in the time period where we know that in Europe being Jewish was not the thing to be and not the religion to stand. We know that, and that's a historical fact. And we know that when people in Europe were going through this situation, many things had to be ruled, and those rules had to be followed if you wanted to stay there. So it is important to keep in mind that. And the fact that Kafka was really proud of being Jewish, that Kafka wanted to portray himself as the Jewish he was, we knew that he wasn't able to do that. And that means that he was probably having this strong feeling of not belonging there because he wanted to be and scream out, hey, I'm Jewish and I like this, and he liked it. And also due to the family problems, we know that back when he was a little kid, in the night, sometimes his dad, and we know this from the letter that he wrote to his dad that he never read, as far as I know, but we know that when he was younger, a little kid, his dad would often put him to sleep outside of the house in Prague. And just imagine the huge trauma that it would have been for a kid that age. Like, go tonight, or if you're watching this video at night or in the early morning, I don't know, go outside and sleep outside of your house when everyone is happy in the bed and comfortable, and if it's cold they're having like a cute blanket, but you are outside of the house sleeping alone. Maybe there's rats, cats, insects, we don't know. But if you go outside to sleep that night, in a winter night, well, you tell me if you feel comfortable and you don't get traumatized by the experience. That's what Kafka was going through. His whole life, he was seeking love. We don't really know if maybe in like small moments of his life, he actually felt loved. But we don't know. But what we know is that he was dealing with anxiety and depression. And he was hated. Or he was shown that he was hated, even if it wasn't true. He felt like that. And I think probably I can understand that if he's seeking for love, probably is because he is dealing with hate. And probably inside of his house. We know it. And he said that he was dealing with depression and anxiety, and that he had problems and no one did anything. Like, he died alone. So that means that he was not happy and he was not living the life he wanted to. And we can see in the Metamorphosis two different sides of hate that I personally think were shown and were part of Kafka's reality. The first hate, let's call it the first hateful actions, or the first person that we see in the book throwing hate to, in this case, what I think is a fictional character that represents Franz Kafka's state of being, which is the main character, Gregor Samsa. The manager starts being nice when he first arrives to Samsa's home, where his family is. Check this out. Where his family is, he's really nice, and he comes to the room being like, I'm really worried because he works in my company and he's always really punctual and on time, and I'm worried as a manager. But then he goes to Samsa's room and they start asking him like, Samsa, come out. Samsa, the trade. Samsa, the job. And even if the manager knows that Samsa rarely, and I would say never, does anything wrong related to his work, confronts him, telling him that his whole life is a mess, and that his whole work is always wrong, and that he is always wrong in doing barely anything to help the company. When we all know from the first sentence in the story that Samsa is not like that. But he's telling him that he does everything wrong. And we've all been through this. Like, I don't know, maybe there's something that you do really passionately and you think you're doing it right, and no one has ever told you so, that you do it wrong, I mean. And then someone tells you that that's wrong and that you're terrible at it. So that's exactly what happened here. Samsa rarely misses his work, rarely gets sick, like literally. He says it. He gets sick, but he's still in his job. So this manager comes here insulting him, and we know by this action that the manager, that's what he does. He's always insulting the workers and being rude to them, throwing them hate. So from this moment in the book, we can see that there's hate in Samsa's life, but also in Kafka's life. And the second hate that we see, that I think probably is the most important of all the hate that his family throws to him. In different stages of the book, of the story, we can see that sometimes it isn't as evident that he is being attacked by hate. But what we can see is that when everyone sees Samsa being a cockroach, because I think he is a cockroach, we see that his dad, instead of being like analytical about the situation and like putting the things on the table and being, where is Gregor Samsa, he's just like, go back to your room. And then when the room was being rented, no one was like too worried about Gregor Samsa, or what they thought was Gregor Samsa, or what they didn't think was Gregor Samsa. In fact, they just started throwing things in there, and then the room became dusty and ugly. Even if the sister had it pretty in some way, she lost interest, because that was not new anymore. And it's probably what happened to him, that maybe when he started something new, everyone was interested, and then, well, it became the normal, and that's it. Have to accept it, and who cares anyways. So I think that's also part of Kafka's life. But at the end, he dies, and what was the reaction of the family? The family was like, ah, he died. Literally, the dad entered to the room, kicked Samsa, turned back to the mom and the sister, and told them that it was a while since they didn't have like a normal family date, let's go out. That's hate. And I think that's what happened to Kafka. Like, he wrote 100 pages for his dad to read and to understand his true feelings, and the dad never read them. And he died alone. Just like Gregor Samsa. So I think it is fair to say that we have to analyze Kafka's life to understand completely the Metamorphosis. Then if we come to conclusion to say that he was seeking love, and once he thought he found love, this love was playing with him. Now, I don't know if the Metamorphosis was written during this love life, or after the love life, or before the love life, but I personally think it was probably during Kafka's love life, because we know that he fell in love with this woman. He traveled a lot to see the woman again, and she rejected him. So she was probably either playing, or she didn't really want to be with him. We don't know. But if he asked her to marry him many times, maybe she was playing. And the maid, the woman that was cleaning the house, she would just go to Samsa's room to see the big cockroach that was living there. She was playing with Samsa, just as the other woman was playing with Kafka. We can see clearly a connection in between Samsa and Kafka. So the fact, probably the most interesting to analyze, was that Kafka didn't feel like he belonged, and Samsa became a cockroach. And in a context where we are all human, a humongous cockroach does not belong. So that was my analysis, of course, from my personal point of view, and I think this approach could be seen in two different directions and could be used in many ways. I personally think that it is really good because we can make like accurate points, and I think that as a person that likes to write, though I'm sure I'm not good at it, or I don't know, but as someone who likes to write and who loves to read as well, you want to feel empathy. And sometimes when you write things, it's because you want to show the world your thoughts and the things that you have inside and that you have been through. So I think it is fair to say that knowing what someone is going through will give you a huge cosmovision when it comes to analyzing their work. For me, it wasn't really hard using this approach to analyze the Metamorphosis, but I think probably in like different other novels, books, it is going to be harder to analyze it, because sometimes it's just an idea that comes to your mind in a different scenario, and sometimes it is because you want to show off your life. Well, not show off, but to express what you're going through. So that's probably the first inconvenience, and I think the only inconvenience when analyzing using this theory, this approach, which again is historical biographical, because not always we're going to be talking about our life or the time we were living. Probably I can write about something that I would like to experience. So I think it's fair to say that we can use this approach in different texts. So first we need to know which text the idea of the text and the feeling of the text and how it makes me feel. It is important. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it very much, and I hope Just like me, you feel now a lot of empathy to Gregor Samsa and also to Franz Kafka. I think Franz Kafka's life was really hard and heartbreaking for me the first time that I actually read his biography. It actually made me cry. Sometimes, and I think everyone has felt like they don't belong, or sometimes if you suffered for something, you probably understand that it was a really hard life and something that no one deserves. No one deserves to die just by dying, and knowing that no one that you loved is going to miss you. So I think Kafka was brave to continue living. And probably if he felt dead inside, that's why Samsa died. That's my conclusion for this analysis. So thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye.